Welcome to week 3, everyone. Pretty amazing that we're already anticipating midweek, stepping into April, and that's not a joke. It's amazing to think about the fact that we're already in the 4th month almost of the year. It goes by quick, even as these days are different. It's amazing to think about just how quickly time is still passing. Want to go ahead and give you an opportunity. I have already put this up and we've talked about it in class, but maybe if you didn't get it then, this can be a reinforcer, an opportunity for you to jot down one area that is going to be on your shield. What's one of the things that you're passionate about? And then why is that an area that you are passionate about? What's led to you putting that on your shield? Why would you say that's something that's important to you? Well, overall, our lesson today will be a little bit shorter, just giving you a heads up, but want to talk first of all about this idea of feudalism. We talked about it at the end of last week, this beginning of relationships that are going to be extended across what is today Europe. There's going to be a very limited number of lords. In fact, I would even argue that maybe less than 10%, but we'll go ahead and give that as a number there that's going to be on the generous side, where the rest of the population is going to be basically made up of middle class and certainly lower class, most of them being lower class citizens that are going to be farming the land. As you think about that property, or the system that's going to exist, this relationship between the serfs and the lord, this is all going to be called manorialism. Those that are going to be working the manor are doing so in return for protection. Their main objective is to make sure that if they were ever to be attacked, they would have someone or some group above them, whether that be a lord or even the church, that they could go to for protection. There is no government per se at this point that's going to offer them that protection. They need to have a group or a person that they know if things go bad, they're going to have my back. They're going to be protecting of me. They're going to make sure that in that moment I have security. The manor itself is going to have a few different features that I'd like you to be aware of, things that are going to be distinct, stand out about the manor. The first is going to be the manor house itself, where the Lord is going to live with his family. And as you look at this, it's typically going to be a 2-story home. Instead of it being a 1-story house, a cottage, it's going to be a little bit more developed. It's going to be a 2-story home. And ultimately, I think that you guys probably could get to this point, instead of it being about this being a small home, ultimately, I think that you guys could probably guess what this will become. The Lord isn't just going to live in a 2-story home anymore. He's going to ultimately live in a castle made of stone, made of brick. If you guys ever get to go to Europe, I hope that you get to see a castle. It's pretty amazing to walk on stones that are over 1,000 years old, or roughly right around there, maybe even as old as 600-700 years, but still to think about stones that have been trod by thousands of people over the years, pretty incredible to think about some of those homes. Now, along with the main house where the Lord's going to live, you're also going to see a village where the people that are under the Lord or the church are going to be living. This is going to be kind of a smattering of families that are going to live in cottages or these little hovels that are going to be scattered throughout the village area. It's not going to be like what we know of today in neighborhoods where you have next door neighbors. It'd be interesting to take a poll among you to see how many of you guys have a good rapport with your next door neighbors, how many of you talk to them who haven't practiced social distancing over the years. You're going to know them in a more familiar way. Or others of you, and I've had students that have said this to Mr. Aird, I couldn't even tell you my neighbor's name. They live next door to me, but I have no clue what their names are. Anyhow, as you think about this, these are going to be scattered. It's not going to be a neighborhood. They're just smattered across the landscape there below the main house, which is going to be the manor house. This is where these families are going to live. Typically, these are one-room houses. The family all lives in the same room, so a mom and a dad, the kids, Everybody lives in one room. I think for many of you, you have your own rooms. You imagine having to share not only with a sibling, some of you guys have done that. I only had to do it, thankfully, for 1 year. But when you think about sharing not only just a bedroom, but your whole house with the family, all the cooking, all the eating, all the sleeping, all the studying, if you will, happens. Not that there's going to be as much studying happening at that point, but everything happens within that same space, shared with the whole family. Everybody lives in the same room. It's not like you can go to your room if you're having a spat with a sibling or your parents and say, hey, I'm going to get some space right now, and close the door. Everybody's business is right out in front of everybody else. It's not going to be the most comfortable thing. Well, here is going to be how things are going to look. You can see the Lord's land, the manor house there, almost right in the middle, top middle. And then from there, you're going to see some of the fields. We'll talk about those as we go along, but also the village. It's going to be just a ways away. You're also going to see a church. Typically, for a piece of property like this, you would have a local parish priest. There would be, again, 10 to 50 families living in that area. The Lord would have built the church as well and the area where the priest would live, but then all of the people that would be working for him would attend there and would live in the village. You can see that there as well. Some other things, you can see the forest up above, the blacksmith, which is going to be doing work for the Lord, making shoes for the horses and other iron products, a lot of things that are going to now be a part of the medieval manor. Well, when we come back, we're going to look a little bit more at what the town also represents, what's going to be happening there. As you think about this, we're going to see this being a significant growth point within the development of Europe. Looking forward to what that's going to be, talking about some of those main points with you, but we'll do that when we return.